So the trusty Sherpa here has been a little bit abandoned lately, so it's time to sort that out and give it a bit of a makeover. Hey folks, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take my trusty Absima Sherpa, the one that started it all for me with this little crawler obsession that I seem to have developed, and give her a bit of a makeover. So it's not really been used much recently. The Element Ecto's seen most of the action, and when that's not been in use, it's been the little Axial SCX24. So this Sherpa was a fantastic buy, and I think it was the perfect first truck for me. And I feel a bit bad, really, for having neglected it. So I'm going to give it a bit of a makeover. Now the intention is to make it a little bit more performant. Now my Sherpa series that I did a while back was actually really all about crawler performance, and it was about getting it to climb up steeper hills and all that kind of thing. Well, frankly, I've got the G-Speed and the Ecto for that now. So it's time this was made back into a really capable trail truck that can still climb some pretty impressive rocks. So the intention is to swap the body, first and foremost. This body, and particularly the hinge mounting system in the back end here, is very top heavy, and it's all a load of weight at the back. So when that's kind of up on an angle, all of this weight is pulling the wrong side of those rear wheels, and it's just not great. So that's going. So I am getting an MST JP1 body for it, so it's still going to have that kind of Jeep styling, not quite a licensed body, but that's on its way from China at the minute. Now that has a sort of cut back here, so it's almost like a pickup, which should take a load of that weight away, and it also means it will just be mounted on regular old body posts. But the good thing is I can reuse kind of a lot of the lighting out of here, probably the light bar, some of the accessories, or at least I'm hoping I can. And then the rest of the work that's going to go on is going to go on under the covers, really, as it were. So I suspect these wheel arch liners will come off because I don't think they'll fit with the new body. The battery is going to come out of the back, and I'm going to remove the lockable diff option and just permanently lock the diffs. I find that whenever I'm out driving with it anyway, I almost always lock the diffs pretty much straight away. I don't really see the point in carrying the weight of the extra servos and all that kind of stuff. And I know it's not a lot of weight, but it is weight. And by removing those, it means I can move the battery up onto the slider, and all of this weight at the back can go. The front end will stay pretty much the same, and I do need to give the old girl a good old clean. The last use for this one was on holiday in the summer. There was maybe some salt water involved, so it needs a proper good once over. So I will do that as I go along, really, I think. So I'll give it a bit of a clean to start with, but things like checking and greasing the diffs and the portals, we'll do that when we go in to lock the diffs out. The gearbox, I'm fairly confident that that will be okay, so I don't really think I need to do anything there. This thing wasn't submerged in salt water, so I'm fairly comfortable that that's going to be okay. So there's a couple of people I need to thank first before we get stuck in. First one of those is Petri Kevikoski, I hope I've got your name right and said that correctly, who's a team driver actually for Flat Gecko out of Finland. The photos he's posted on the Facebook groups of a truck that he built for his friend Yako, again hopefully I'm getting that correct, are what's really inspired me. He's got this body he's put this body on Yako's truck. Actually he's stripped a load more out of it than I'm going to do, almost a bare chassis. Yeah, it's great, but that's a bit extreme for what I want. I still want to have the 2-speed, and I don't really want to spend a load more money on electronics at this point in time. I may get some more Desert Lizard shocks, because these shocks that are in here at the moment are the Element ones that came on the Ecto, because I did a bit of swapping around for the purposes of the Ecto. So this ran really well on those Desert Lizards. I may get some more of those. We'll see how it goes. But for now, it's time to get this thing cleaned up. Start stripping off the body shell. I will time-lapse some of that, and I'll show you any pertinent bits, but I think really it's fairly straightforward. Because I'm only stripping things off that are not going to go back on, I won't pay too much attention to that. But I will very shortly go through how to lock out the diffs permanently, Haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that. We'll decide when I get there. I may 3D print a piece for that, or I may just use a bit of heat shrink, but you'll see what I mean when we get there. So time to get cracking. So we'll set the body aside over there. You can see this is the sort of hinge assembly that I'm talking about. This is really quite a substantial, there goes one of the screws, quite a substantial mechanism. I mean, it was never going to break, fair play to them for that, but wow, you know, it's got some weight in it. Now, have a bit of a look in there and see what it looks like. Might be able to reuse some of those parts as a rear bumper for a new one, but I think most of it's going to be unsuitable, so I suspect all of this will have to go. So next we'll strip out these inner fenders. I'm just going to take the ones off the back for now. And if we can get away without taking the ones off the front, maybe that would be useful. So we'll see when the new body arrives, which should be fairly soon actually, because for some reason the 2-day DHL shipping option from China was only about $2 more than the 10 or 15 day standard China Post one. So I went with the DHL. Probably regret it and get walloped with a load of customs charges. I don't know if you can see that, there's another reason to get rid of those element shocks. They're leaking everywhere. That could be fixed though, let's be honest. Just need rebuilding properly. So there's a missing screw. So I don't know if you saw me taking this off as part of the body strip out. This is a little voltage reader that I put in. I 3D printed a little mount for it in the dash, so it kind of goes in the dash of the body, and then it connects all the way down the wiring loom straight to the XT60, so I'm getting direct voltage reading from that. It's quite useful actually, but it's not very bright, so on a sunny day you don't really see it. Right, let's get that rear bumper off. There we go, there's the whole bumper setup. We're already starting to look a little bit more lightweight in the rear. I'm going to go and get the kitchen scales. We'll see how much this weighs. There we go. Just the rear bumper section on its own, 133 grams. I'd say that's worth losing. I've made a mistake here and I've not weighed the truck before I started. It's actually too heavy for those scales at the moment, and they take up to 3 kilograms. So I might have to try it on the bathroom scales. So I'll just gather everything up, put it all on the scales and put the results just there. So yeah, looking at this rear bumper setup, it doesn't look like there's any way to kind of reuse that. Obviously you could just screw it back into the chassis rails, but there's only one screw, so it's going to flop about. And I don't think there's room to push it in further. So we are going to have to come up with a new bumper solution. Now that could be just a straightforward purchase of one, but then I would need a bumper mount to go in the back, or may have to design and print something. There aren't many aftermarket things for the Sherpa, I don't think. Although it's a popular truck and there are some aftermarket parts available, things like bumpers and what have you don't tend to be available. So I'm going to have to fabricate something for this rear chassis. I have got some bits from the Element Enduro Builders kit that I built the G-Speed out of, so there are some bits there that might work, but they tend to be for stamped steel C-channel rails, whereas these are solid aluminium, so it may not quite work. So we'll keep the side steps on there for now, see how they line up with the new body when it arrives. I am going to take the opportunity though to remove the rear panhard bar, because I'm not really sure what value it adds. I mean, on a 4-link setup, a panhard is supposed to give you stability at speed, but these things don't go fast, so I don't see the point. So I'm going to take that off and see if it makes any difference. Doesn't feel like there's any more lateral movement in there to me, but in theory should get some more flex in that rear end now, and that is looking pretty good. So we're up to over a tyre's height there, I would have thought. It's got plenty of spare tyres knocking about, so we can test that. So that's another part for the spares box. And let's get this battery tray out. Okay, so those rear shock towers are partly supporting the battery tray, so we're going to have to put a brace in there as well. Alright, we are definitely lightening the load here. Take the servos out. So this will help a little bit reduce the rat's nest that is under this receiver box lid. So according to the radio, the diff servos are on channel 5 and 6. So we'll take out 5 and 6 and hope for the best. Now this will hopefully give me a nice opportunity as well to potentially, not sure, install a winch. Thought about it in the past, never really got around to doing it, but of course now I'm going to free up some channels, although apparently channel 4 is free anyway. Oh, that's the lights, so that channel 4 must be hooked up to all these light connections. But obviously I've now got some different channels that I can perhaps have a play around with, maybe use that 3-position switch to do something different, and just have the lights on one of these buttons. Actually, that could do that, don't know. I'm not sure if we can do that, so we'll see. Right. That is the rear diff lock servo. The handy thing is these are exactly the same as the speed servo, so shall we see how we're doing for weight savings so far? Rear bumper. Oh, it's going to need to be replaced, but we'll give that. Servo. There'll be another one of those to go on. So what was that? 30 grams altogether. That will weigh next to nothing. Rear panhard mount. Other part of the rear panhard mount. Battery tray. That's not bad. 250 grams saved already. Plus, you know, a handful of grams for all the hardware that's been removed. So that's a pretty good start, I think. I won't wear the zip ties because I'll have to put some more back on. That's a pretty good start, definitely. There's obviously going to be a weight saving on the bodies as well. I'm not sure what yet, so we'll find out later on, which is why I'm leaving all the body accessories and lights and things on there for now, so that I can weigh that up, get the new one, get that all fitted out, weigh that up, and we can see what the difference is just in the body shell when it's all accessorized to the point that I want it. I mean, I think that's already telling as well. If you can see the difference in the sink of the suspension there, like the front and the rear, totally different. The front's going down, that rear's not doing much at all. But it is rebounding nicely. So we can take that preload off. That's better. Okay, good. So yeah, 250 grams plus another 30, so 280 grams so far. Pleased with that. Time to strip the diffs, lock them out, see if we can get that other servo away. And then we're done for this video. State those diffs are in. Whoa, not bad. Still nicely greased in there. Nothing to worry about there, really. But that's the fella that needs to come out. And that's the fella that needs locking up. So let's get the calipers on that and see what we can do. 9mm by 8.5, so a little plastic C-clip, I think. We'll just slot in there nicely. So this piece here is the bit that slides in and out on that locking arm and locks your diff in place. So when it's in, diffs are locked. When it's out, diffs are open. I want my diffs locked. So we're going to fire up Fusion 360, quickly knock together a little clip, print that off, and here we go. Now I'm pretty sure you could do that with a bit of heat shrink or a bit of tubing or anything really. Probably metal washers actually, if you could get a metal washer the right size, just anything that would hold that in place. It doesn't take a lot of effort to hold it in there, and I don't think it's going to, hard to tell really because it keeps popping out. I don't think it's going to take much wear and tear. So we'll try it with a plastic one, see how it goes. Okay, so I've now locked up the rear diff. I've tried that out. Haven't actually test driven it, but have tested out I've installed the little C-clip that I've just designed, and that's all working pretty well as far as I can tell. We'll see how it holds up. So I'm going to install the one in the front, show you where that goes so you can see a nice close-up of it, and that's going to do it for today. Just to let you know, I have ended up taking off the front wheel arch fenders or wheel arch liners. I've kept them to one side. I may try and install them back in. I may not bother. We'll see how it goes when the body arrives. The body's arriving on Monday. Today's Saturday, so very excited for that coming, and hopefully get that all painted up. I've got a paint scheme in mind. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for my somewhat basic paint skills, but we'll give it a go. In the meantime, let's get on with just popping this in, and then we're all done. Right, so we've gone a bit handheld here, so apologies for that. So this little section here is where the clip is going to go. That's holding that locker, which I can't seem to move at the moment. It's holding that in place, and that's what locks up the diffs. And it really is a simple push fit. So I was trying to do it left-handed. There we go. Clips into place, nice and solid. I think that's good. So there she is. We've lightened the load somewhat. As you can see, we've got all the battery tray removed. I have put a 3D printed just chassis brace across there where I removed the battery tray from, so I shall put that up on Thingiverse as usual if anybody wants to use that for anything. We've stripped out the wheel arch liners. We've got no rear bumper for the moment. We will have to put something on there, I think. There is a fake one built into the body shell that I'm getting, but I don't know quite how that sits, so we'll see how that goes. Stripped off the servos for the shifters, for the diff lockers, and that will become the battery mount tray. So that will just sit on there perfectly. I only ever use these 2200s, don't ever use anything bigger, so that's going to be perfect on there, just the right size. Keeping the shift servo for now, keep that 2-speed going. And that's it. I'm going to have to come up with some creative body mounts, but I can't do that until the body arrives. So once we've done those, I'll show you how we did that. And yeah, exciting times. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It really helps the videos get out to more people, which ultimately helps the channel to grow. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done already, and hit that notification bell to see the next videos when they come out. The next video will be part 2 of this series, so we'll see you on the next one.